Innovation and Design Thinking. IDT VTU Module 1 Shared Model in Team-Based Design. Shared Model in Team-Based Design. Communication is very important in design thinking process. It generally occurs at the time of representation of ideas or a prototype. Proper communication enables the group members could see what they want to say and responds on what they see. There are different modes the ideas can be represented. A few of them are 1. Narrative sketch, 2. Conceptual frameworks, 3. Physical model, 4. Photograph, 5. An enactment, 6. CAD models. Media models. Media models are powerful tools for as sharing models and more effective in the discussions during the product development meetings. There are two important aspects of media models are 1. Abstraction, 2. Resolution. Abstraction. Meaning of abstraction is the state of thinking deeply about something and not paying attention to what is around you or can be something pulled or drawn away. Here abstraction means amplification through simplification, which implies pulling specific characteristics out of context. Abstraction can be also used for differentiation between familiar and unfamiliar. There are 4 classes of abstraction in most of design projects. 1. Functional abstraction, works like. 2. Formal abstraction, appearance or shape. 3. Mathematical abstraction, dimensions and optimization. 4. Material abstraction, materials. Figure 2 shows an example of 2 levels that are high level and low level of abstraction. The wooden car represents high level of abstraction, whereas steel car represents low level of abstraction. The reasons of saying a wood car prototype represents high level of abstraction is, while communication to the group the designers will think this a model of a car made of wood and in the place of wood we can choose any material for a car and designers will have many options for a material for a final product. Steel car prototype restrict the use of other materials. Designers think that all cars should be made in steel only. This will limit the choices for material. This example shows how abstraction can make the familiar unfamiliar. Resolution. Resolution means the quality, clarity of the shared presentation. Figure 1 shows a sketch of a car in a rough sketch and a computer-aided design or CAD model. CAD model have high resolution than a sketch by hand. Media cascades. During the development of a new product or service, it is necessary to enlist at least hundreds if not thousands of representations. The term media model coined by Jonathan Edelman and Rebecca Carano that refers a single representation as the arc of new product or service development. Two important characteristics of media models are abstraction and resolution, which can be treated as 2 dimensions. Dictionary meaning of cascades is a small waterfall, typically one of several that fall in stages down a steep rocky slope. Cascades of media word refers here the sequence of representations over which the development of projects and unfolding the different media during the product development cycle. Figure 3 shows some focal points of media cascade of a project binding for a snowboard. As brief notes of a project, then rough sketches followed by rough prototypes and CAD models, then functional prototypes, and finally an actual working product. Now we can see these representations as media model and examine them, how they are different in terms of resolution and abstraction. The media models framework. See the figure. There are 2 dimensions in media model, abstraction and resolutions, and there are different ways to represent product development stages. Figure 4 refers to the media models framework in 2 dimensions, X dimension indicates resolution and Y dimension indicates abstraction. Positive x-axis indicates high resolution and negative x-axis indicates low resolution. Similarly, positive y-axis indicates high abstraction and negative y-axis indicates low abstraction. From the figure we can note that process modeling tools, maps, conceptual photos and CAD models represent high resolution and high abstraction. Rough sketches represent high abstraction but low resolution. Manufactured products represent high resolution but low abstraction. Rough physical prototypes represents low resolution and low abstraction. User prototypes represent low abstraction and moderate resolution. CAD models represents physical things in geometries with no specific materials and refers to an entire class of product, not one real product. Hence, CAD models highly abstractive nature. As CAD models define all the features of the product precisely, and there is no vagueness or uncertainty in a CAD model. So, CAD models has high resolution. Together we can say CAD models are both highly resolved and highly abstract. Prototypes and rough sketches display low resolution and differing in the levels in abstraction based on the situation in which they are used. Rough sketch is more abstract when compared to a physical model in the situation of designing a physical object. The explanation is, in rough sketches, 3 dimensions of a product are reduced into 2 dimensions. In the example of wooden car prototype, the material wood is advantageous as an abstraction to avoid a design constraint as in steel prototype. We can use any materials for a car, high abstraction. One should note that manufactured products too are highly resolved but low abstract. Product development undergoes optimization process before it is manufactured. Hence, the final products are not abstract as they are the actual things. Completion. Media models may not represent the final product, they only present a part of a project. Therefore, they present a portrait of incompleteness. This incompleteness grants design engineers to work more to fill the gaps. In this way, media models strengthen in different levels of completion and allow for discussion in every stage of product development. Media models are classified into 3 types. They are: 1. Ambiguous media, 2. Mathematized media, 3. Hybrid media. Each type strengthens a different kind of completion. Ambiguous media. Rough physical prototypes and rough sketches are the examples of ambiguous media. They help the design thinkers and engineers to fill in the gaps. Finally, they will be completed as engineers postulate so many possible formulations. They are inconclusive objects and can be expressed in different ways based on the knowledge and experience designer or engineer. In this way, they encourage divergent conversations. See the figure. 5. The objects say, I am not the real thing. I am a transitory notion. Mathematized media. Mathematized media represents highly realistic figures or images with the complete details including the dimensions. Hence, they encourage convergent conversations. These models generally prevent the big changes. See the figure 6. The objects say, I am the real thing. I am the underlying, unchanging truth of the thing. Hybrid media. As per AI-powered chat on Bing.com, hybrid media is the strategic use of traditional and new media to communicate your message in a more effective way. Hybrid models have the combinations of different media, such as drawings, text, and photographs. Hybrid media grant many kinds of discussions and operations. These models are in the sweet spot for designers. They generally use physical interfaces in connection with high-level frameworks and allows a flexible exploration of how different elements relate to another. Designers can move elements to see how they fit into frameworks, and also change the frameworks to see how they describe phenomena. Hybrid media has an effect and makes the model is completed. In hybrid media, mathematized elements tend not to get changed, whereas ambiguous elements invite changes. See the figure 7. The objects say, "I am about provisional relationships among things." To summarize, ambiguous media models afford paradigmatic shifts. Mathematized media models afford parametric adjustment. Hybrid media models afford understanding and changes in relationships. It can be noted that the outstanding design projects apply either have a broad bandwidth media models or different types of media models. This reason behind this is having various types of media models breed various kinds of thinking patterns and various kinds of explorations. More insights will be collected on moving from one type of media model to another type as the project is moving forward. Cognitive strategies. The media models explained in my previous video serve as cognitive processes makes designers to think deeply. Insights will be gained on moving from one type of media model to another type of varying levels of abstraction and resolution. Success of any product development is mainly depending on how design team apply various cognitive strategies. Each type of media models gives designers a different thinking style. For example, abstract media, which is highly resolved, has a cognitive strategy parametric adjustment. Media models that have low resolution and high abstraction has a cognitive strategy paradigmatic shifts. To understand different cognitive strategies, Jonathan Edelman and Rebecca Carano conducted experiments. However, there are several research examples that shows how designers apply different cognitive strategies. Research of Andy Clark shows that certain kinds of thinking shall not occur unless the subject's or designer's hands really move. In conducting any research, the people chosen for the study are called as subjects. According to the Clark, much of thinking happens in the hands at the same time in the mind. Their research recommends that thinking doesn't occur only in the heads, but also in certain forms of human cognizing include inextricable tangles of feedback, feed-forward and feed-around loops, loops that promiscuously crisscross the boundaries of brain, body and the world. Briefly, we can say the media itself influences designers on what and how they can think. Barbara Tverskin, cognitive scientist, has realized that when rough sketches presented experimental subjects committed to think roughly or conditionally, this they called as sketchy thinking. Another research in cognitive science has explored the fitness of representations. Cognitive fit theory says that the style or way in which the problem is represented regulates the thinking model used. These all researches supports the concept that the kind and the characteristics of the media on which people engaged have an effect on how people think and subsequently on the nature of their conversations. Experimental procedure and the data. Jonathan Edelman and Rebecca Carano conducted an experiment to understand and get more insights using media models framework. They videotaped 4 different teams, each consists of 3 members, for to redesign projects using 2 different types stimuli. First stimulus, a CAD model of a device expected to analyze the properties of material, see the figure 8. Second stimulus, a rough physical prototype of a device expected to project a voice to a specific user, see the figure 9. They gave instructions deliberately vague to see what effects the stimuli will have. Instructions for the first stimulus: do whatever is necessary to take the model forward. This product enables you to analyze and identify the material composition of objects. Instructions for the second stimulus: do whatever is necessary to take the model forward. This product enables you to project your voice to a specific target. Results and insights. First stimulus: CAD model showed convergent conversations, subjects suggesting only parametric changes and the additional features. Second stimulus: rough prototype showed divergent conversations, subjects suggesting major changes, including adding features and functionality. Teams diverged from the norms, teams innovative, and media supports this innovation. Teams suggested paradigmatic changes for the CAD model and made many prototypes and rough sketches. This had the effect of giving the CAD model a cognitive vote. This experiment led new insights. Behaviors unique in the teams are: new insights. 1. Statement of intention. 2. Asking process questions. 3. Visualizing user scenarios. 4. Enacting user scenarios. 5. Combining metaphors. It's like X plus Y. 6. Eureka moments experience. 1. Statement of intention. After the study, it was observed that teams, when working with the CAD model, deviated from the norm, that is convergent conversation, rather they think divergently, and their intention is to change the model itself. Their intention is neither agree the given CAD model or improve the given idea. 2. Asking process questions. It was also noticed that the team who deviated from the norm posed a significant number of process-oriented questions during the conversations. Process-oriented questions means to how the team shall approach the problem, instead focusing only on the problem. Example: can we choose the same assumptions in the lab or in the field? 3. Visualizing user scenarios. There is a significant difference between user scenarios and use case. Use case considers general assumptions about the users, whereas user scenarios consider specific circumstance commitment. The teams who deviated from the norms have conversations in diverse depictions of user scenarios. User scenarios concerns with the real user in particular situation and get into specific details. This insight brought out new mechanism for how a drastic change to a model happens. This change is referred as K-C transits, means knowledge to concept transits, appealing Hatchwell and Wheels C-K theory. See the figure. CK design theory or concept knowledge theory is both a design theory and a theory of reasoning in design. It defines design reasoning as a logic of expansion processes, means a logic that organizes the generation of unknown objects. In this study, CAD model considered as an anchor object that used as a reference point which influenced the conversations. As teams brought about different user scenarios, they undo the authority of anchor object. Now the user scenarios act as new anchor objects, allow new perspectives that allow the team to make more changes in the CAD model, which makes a new mutable object. 4. Representation or enacting user scenarios. Enactment is related to the user scenarios and used in describing the user scenarios. Enactment means serving as a typical example of something. Enactment can be noticed during the performance of the object by the team members. This can be done by either simulating the action or with substitute or proxy objects like a cell phone or a water bottle in order to serve as the object during enacting a scene where the object going to be used. Team members showed various examples of this enactment, which made paradigmatic shifts using CAD models. 5. Metaphors combinations. It's like X plus Y. It is the combination to metaphors, examples, and occurs during the enactment. A metaphor is a figure of speech that, for rhetorical effect, directly refers to one thing by mentioning another. It may provide clarity or identify hidden similarities between two different ideas. See the figure. It was noticed in the study, the use of single metaphor to express how a stimulus was thought to work. Functional changes can be made to the models. If two or more metaphors were combined, that can bring paradigmatic shifts in the model. Example, a team connected the metaphor of a scanner and the metaphor of a glove while enactment and brought a new concept which was a complete departure from the form of the instrument in CAD rendering. 6. Eureka Moments Experience. In was noticed in this study, the teams which achieved their explicit intention to change the model, an excitement. Then the teams co-crafted completely new and shared vision. Outbursts like, "Oh yeah," were also noticed, and the teams focused on details of the vision. Tangible Business Process Modeling (TBPM). Organizations use visualization of business process models for communicating knowledge about actual working methods or procedures of the organization. Since organizations use the process viewpoint to share the knowledge and to make decisions accordingly, hence it is credit of investigating the processes and how they are brought out. Most of the business process models use interview methods to know domain experts' views about the processes and convert their understanding into the process models. Domain experts, generally foreign with process thinking. Hence, they have problems in understanding the process models and give their meaningful feedback. Authors made a new approach that improved process elicitation and also strengthened the role of domain expert. They proposed an innovative method that complements the interviews with a toolkit and also methodology so as employ domain experts during process modeling. This is called tangible business process modeling. See the figures. Figure 1 shows TBPM toolkit and the media of BPM or the business process model and notation BPMN shapes. Figure 2 shows two interview situations of process modeling driven by domain experts. The media of BPM or the business process model and notation BPMN. It is the integration or use of media in business process. It is a pictorial or graphical presentation of business processes model. The use media models in business process models enhance the abstraction and resolution. See the figure. Figure shows typical BPMN media models. Text and narratives, process modeling tools are the media models of high abstraction and resolution. See the figures. Above figure shows a simple BPMN model for approval of a loan application. Below figure shows a complex BPMN model for making an energy consumption demand order. Intermediary objects. Media models provide as intermediary objects in the design network that permit shared cognition. These shared models considered as devices that either allow or restrict the access for collaborative participation. Media which allows collaboration is called open and which restricts collaboration called as closed. Generally, the models that use the software are considered as closed. There is control on these models and few people who are experts with the software can make the changes and there is a little chance of inviting the changes from other stakeholders. In these models process experts owned and also drive the models, hence, domain experts become spectators. Now the idea is to open the media in order to have direct involvement into BPM by end users. Development of TBPM. Jonathan Edelman and Rebecca Carano used number of iterations of prototyping strategies during the development of TBPM. They are shown in the figure and explained in the following slides. Use of LegoSTM in role-playing. First iteration is to explore to change the media of BPM centered into the notion, bringing the domain experts and process experts and engage them in role-playing by using Lego TM pieces for the representation of stakeholders at their respective places of work as shown in the figure. This step is away from high resolution and high abstraction when compared with media models. This move helped the players to gain empathy and more insight with other players. Post-ITR notes. Next iteration is use of post-ITR notes, which a favorite media model to design thinkers. Post-ITR notes offered as an outstanding memory aids for the domain experts for recalling the steps of the processes. These notes also provide an opportunity for both the process expert and domain expert could discuss on an object for clarification. Major shortcoming to post-ITR notes found that the domain experts unsuccessful in developing insights of BPM structures. These insights are central to break down the barriers to informed involvement in further stages of process modeling. Although post-ITR notes can be easily transferable and rearrangeable, they did not encourage the domain experts to convey their processes in terms of alternatives. Post-ITR notes make domain experts to rapidly recite the steps of their process, but did not lead to deeper understanding of their processes. Post-ITR notes are too less resolved and less abstract compared to traditional BPM media. Figure shows interview using post-ITR notes. Systems modeling objects. Next iteration is the use a set of acrylic blocks. Process experts and domain experts can write directly on these blocks with dry erase markers as shown in the figure. These pieces are easy to handle and also make changes in their interpretation of their processes by moving these pieces around the table. In Media Models framework, systems modeling objects establish a move towards less abstraction and less resolution than BPM media. Next iteration is TBPM, translating the 4 basic BPMN shapes as shown in figure into tangible acrylic pieces. See the figures. In TBPM, the table becomes definite player on which BPM lanes can be drawn with lines connecting activities. Major benefit of TBPM elements is they aid memory aid. Users, domain experts and process experts can structure their experiences not as steps as in case with post-ITR notes, but as process with understanding parallelism and other alternatives. This can be achieved by keeping TBPM blocks one above the another. Interactions between process experts and domain experts be heightened and the level of involvement of these experts is outstanding. Domain experts can grasp the fundamentals of BPM concepts and also alternatives and parallelism in the processes. Domain experts go more in deep into the processes, note the details, exceptions, and make changes. Interviewers exhibited with TBPM elements has greater level of engagement with the specific domain expert in comparison to the standard interviews and also interviews with post-ITR notes. The reason for this higher level of engagement is the use of a shared physical object and domain-specific representation. As TBPM is domain-specific, it removed the worry of interpreting data. Much work of interpretation is happening on the table itself. This TBPM removed the bias towards the end user in user-centered design, and actual fact is that there are more than one kind of users in the whole process. They are the interviewer or process expert. TBPM is hybrid media wherein tangible elements are used. These models are more resolved and more abstract than role-playing with Lego TM, but less abstract and less resolved than traditional BPM media. Little training of the TBPM tools to the end users makes easier for them to really understand and also give meaningful feedback when they were presented with formal process models. TBPM and post-ITR notes convey us by simply having movable objects may not make meaningful interviews. For effectiveness, shared media further needs be fine-tuned to the domain in which it is situated. Thanks for watching. Comment for any suggestions. Like, share and subscribe.